What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Hey, it's Mark Bunker, and welcome to another visit here to the studios of XENU TV. And I appreciate all of you folks who will be joining me, who may not even be here yet. But I think I've got an interesting video and a story to share with you about the making of this video. This is a video that actually started my website. Once they came to picket my home, I knew, okay, well, they know who I am now. No need to hide behind anonymous names. So I'm sorry, let me bring this up. Oh, Clearwater Chat, nice to see you. Hank, Dr. Dr. Wog, thank you. I appreciate that. I started out on ARS as Ben Wog, and then at some point I gave myself a doctorate just like Hubbard, so I became Dr. Benjamin Wog, and I remained that until two Scientologists showed up at my house. And it has been a fun journey ever since then. Hello to you, Hank. How are you? Nice to see you. Calico Benj, nice to see you. Welcome to you. Kelly, hi. All you folks who are joining me, I greatly appreciate it. So yesterday, we looked at the behind the scenes at the FactNet conference video, and that was the first video that I shot about Scientology. After leaving that conference, Bob was nice enough to give me a really solid professional camera and editing equipment. And then I set about creating better videos for the web. Like the behind the scenes video I could not have done without the editing equipment that he provided me. And that equipment is still working to this day. I've got my DV deck, which you'll see sitting on top of a monitor in this video. I've got that working right now, capturing some video right next to me on another laptop. Over on the click view at the VHS station, I've got a historic video that is going to be only for completionists. This is something from the 1980s. It is a squirrel group that got together and they videotaped their meeting. So there's a lecture from two of the people who were in charge of that. But this was at a point when there was a splinter from Scientology and they thought Miscavige was ruining everything. So squirrels went out into the wild and then, of course, got savagely sued by Scientology and harassed. And they went out of business as well pretty quickly. But that will be coming up on the web at some point. Tonight, let's get back to, I have to stop for this, over and out. Humanitarian with the highest honors. Wow, thank you. Thanks for your service exposing the criminal human trafficking, money scamming, family shattering cult disguised as a religion. It's my pleasure. And it has been a pleasure. Marcia, thank you. Nice to see you here. I tell you, I was afraid to show my face for the first year. When I was online as Benjamin Wog, I was too frightened to go to a picket. There was one a year before this event happened, and I desperately wanted to meet everybody who was picketing, but I was too afraid to really show my face. So I thought, well, what can I do for them? I dubbed off a bunch of VHS tapes, put them in a bag, and I drove down L. Ron Hubbard Way, stopped long enough to hop out and say, "Hi, I'm Ben Wog. Here's a bag of tapes for you to enjoy." So after the picket, they could all sit around and watch some of these shows from across the seas and things that perhaps they'd never seen before. As soon as I handed that off, I hopped back in my car and I fled. And I tried to stay off the radar for another year. That is until Bob invited me out in January of 1999 to come to that cult conference we looked at yesterday. But even then, I remained anonymous. And then on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday in March of 99, I decided now that Bob's given me a camera, I'm going to go out and I'm going to videotape the protest and meet some of the folks who were out there with much more bravery than I was, including Dennis Ehrlich, who I mentioned yesterday. Dennis was one of the outspoken critics in the 90s who had his home raided by Scientology. And also at that point was doing a lot of interviews for TV shows, and so he was a known figure. At least I knew him. He didn't know me. So when I came up onto the sidewalk outside the Celebrity Center in LA and had my big camera on my shoulder videotaping him, he was talking to some passerby, and he pointed out me and said, "Oh, here's one of the OSA guys watching every move we make." No, I'm Benjamin Wagg. And then we became friends after that. So that happened that Picket day. And then the next day, I went with two of the folks over to the Celebrity Center where we met Buddy for the first time. And thank you to the folks who identified the security guard I labeled Buddy. I don't have his name in front of me right now, but I'm going to find out much more about him. Oh no, Nora gave me some information that she was actually in the security department at that point, and she remembered that day. So I can't wait to hear the details from her about that. But this is the day after I met Buddy. And that morning, one of my neighbors called up and said, "Are you Mark Bunker?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I'm supposed to beware you." And I knew immediately that Scientology had been leafleting my neighborhood, and they all around the neighborhood. And this is the nicest neighborhood I've lived in. This was up in the hills, Hollywood Hills, essentially. I had a really great view of the Griffith Observatory up there. And everyone, everyone was told that I'm a religious bigot. Thankfully, what they wrote on the flyer, besides "Beware your neighbor, Mark Bunker," because the woman who called me said, "Oh, we got a child molester here. Oh no!" And then she read down, and it talks about me spending my days sitting behind a computer attacking religion. And at the very bottom of it, thankfully, they said it was Scientology who was distributing these. And at that point, no one takes it seriously. And we had a big laugh about it. And I explained everything about XENU and all the stuff that was going on at the time. And at that point, there was, I was in an apartment above the garage at this place. The person who was living in the house was a police officer for the LA PD, and his girlfriend and their kids. So I got a copy of the flyer, and I went up to knock on the door of the police officer and explained to him. And I went in his house and I was explaining, "Listen, Scientology has been leafleting the neighborhood. There is a chance, it's remote, but there's always a chance they might come to protest here, because they've been doing that to other people like Christy Wachter across the country." And as I'm saying that, I look out the window, and there are the two guys just popping up at the end of my driveway. And I ran back to my place, grabbed my camera, walked down the drive, and started to interview them. And you can hear in my voice as I start to talk to them, there's a little bit of fear there. There's a little bit of tremble in my voice. But I overcame that pretty quickly. And I decided the best thing to do was just to have a conversation with them. And, so I tried doing an interview. And you'll see Dan Murnan. Dan Murnan has been there, you know, quite often on my channel now. Well, this is the first time I met him. And he was way up on the bridge. Dee, who is with him in this video, the other Scientologist, he hadn't gotten to OT3 yet. So when I started talking about OT3 and XENU and what was happening there in the level, he immediately fled. And, I enjoy the reactions from both of them as I am reciting this, because I'll cut back to Dan and he'll duck behind the sign with a great look on his face. So this was a lot of fun for me to do. And I put it online with my little intro from Mike Rinder. I decided at that moment, let's create my own website. So XENU TV was born. XENU TV was, I took it down several years ago just because I felt it really needed to be revamped. And I never revamped it because what I wound up doing, there were so many people out there with great websites who were reporting things every day, like Tony Ortega. And I found myself just kind of pointing people to those stories on my website. I'm not really being that constructive here. So I took a break from the website, but I'm working on getting that back online now. And I'm glad that we have this new incarnation of XENU TV to pick up the slack here. So I'm going to show you this video and we'll stop and start. And if you have questions, if you have anything that, there, over and out, I agree. Love and subscribe, like, and share my channel. Please let everybody know. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to go through all the archives, and then I'll be talking about other things along the way as well. But as I'm recapturing all my footage and turning it into 4K, I thought it'd be good to go over some of these things. I won't be doing one of these videos for everything. Like right now, I'm capturing next to me on the other laptop all the panel discussions in Bob's speech from that FactNet conference. We don't need to sit through all of those, but they are interesting. And I think if you haven't seen them before, you might gather a lot of, interesting stuff from those videos. But let's see. Let's, and Hank, you mentioned the fingers in ear tech. Yeah, I wanted to point that out because I discovered that is one great way to handle Scientology security. Because in Clearwater, there would be one of the security guards coming up to me with his camera, and I would start talking about OT3, and he'd have one hand on the camera, one in his ear as he walked away from me. Is it really? You have one ear open. How's that helping? And for the life of me, if you have security people who can be chased away by just saying 75 million years ago, Earth was known as Tigiak, how secure is the place? Anyway, stuff like that was popping up all the time once I got out in the open and started recording more and more. So, so what did the cop say? He didn't say that much. He was okay with it. I explained there's nothing to worry about, and then they never came back again. And again, you say it's Scientology, and people go, "Oh, okay, well that sounds about right." That's pretty nutty. Hi, Maria. Welcome to you. I'm glad you made it. And I say we get to it, and let's take a look at the video, and I will fill you in with some details as we go along. So here we go from March of 1999. It is the Revenge Picket, and oh, yeah, nothing to it. More than you in many respects. For instance, I know. All right, here we go. Now
You know nothing about what you're attacking.
I think I know
You know nothing.
more than you in many respects. For instance, I know about OT3, where Hubbard wrote that 75 million years ago, Earth was known as Tiki.
Hi, I'm Dr. Benjamin Wagg, or as I'm now known, Mark Bunker. And welcome to the worldwide headquarters of FactNet Films. About a month ago, I grabbed a camera and started covering Scientology-related events. Well,
Now, if you'll look here into the studios of the then headquarters of FactNet Films, you have this state-of-the-art computer equipment right there. And on top of the monitor, that little deck, that's the DV cam deck that Bob provided, that gave professional quality video at that point. And it's still kicking. And, you know, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours that I'm accessing now for this. So let's go back and see what this large bearded fella is saying.
didn't take long for the cult to catch up with me. Yesterday, their campaign of harassment continued, with picketers arriving at my doorstep. I grabbed the patented Minton cam and covered the whole event. This will give you the chance to watch the first fully videotaped Revenge Picket, and Mike Rinder, it will give you the chance to see just how well your little boys did.
Okay. Well, you know, I just paused long enough to, if you can see it behind me here, there's a movie poster on the wall. One of my favorite films, Avalon, which most people have not seen. It's from the guy who did Diner and so many great movies. Watch it if you have a chance.
Yeah, I would. I just got one, but I've been looking for more. You guys have pretty lousy picture on that.
Oh, if you can get it.
I can give you more if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
And what's your name?
My name's Dan.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for coming by.
Sure.
And what's your name?
D.
D. And are you a Scientologist, or were you hired by Scientology to come by?
I'm a Scientologist.
Oh, really? How long you been in Scientology?
Doesn't matter.
I'm just curious.
I really don't want to do an interview with you.
You don't?
Nope.
Well, sorry to hear that. I mean, you're here at my house. I'm willing to talk about anything that you guys want to talk about.
This is the picture you want to get right here.
Well, yeah, I think we
Why don't you
We
read,
can
why don't
see
you
me.
read that and you can see why
beware your neighbor. Mark Bunker is not all that he seems. And what do you think I am? Your neighbor, Mark Bunker, is a religious bigot. Well, if you would consider Scientology a religion, I suppose you might believe that, but unfortunately it's a cult.
Well,
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Bunker, you know deep down inside you're trying to harm something that is good and helps other people.
Well, deep down inside I'm trying to help you is what I really feel. Because you probably don't know all of what your church does and all of what your church believes.
I
For
know a lot
instance-
of what my church does, and it's mostly helping people, you know. So.
Well, where are you on the bridge?
Oh, Mark, I'm not going to listen to
Well,
your
where are
insults
you
about
online?
where I'm on the bridge.
Well, just, you know, you're here. I'd always like to talk to Scientologists. I'm trying to get your side of the story.
Have you ever done anything in Scientology yourself?
I went in, I took the personality test,
You've never
and
done
I
a
played
course?
with the e-meter.
Played with the e-meter.
Played with the e-meter. Well, the e-meter's
What
kind of a toy. I mean, it's...
So you played with the e-meter. So
Well-
in other words, you know nothing about what you're attacking.
I
You know nothing about what you're attacking.
I think I know
You know nothing.
more than you in many respects. For instance, I know I know about OT3, where Hubbard wrote that 75 million years ago, Earth was known as Tegeac.
Oh my God.
And Tegeac was ruled over by the evil overlord XENU, who, to solve the overpopulation problem, stuffed us all into volcanoes and blew us up, thus causing all of the problems that we still suffer from today. Seems that all of those little invisible dead space cooties that were caused by the exploding volcano have covered our bodies and are infesting us still today, so you need to take Scientology courses to clear yourself. That's incident 2. You'll be getting to that on OT3 if you ever reach that level. Of course, it will cost you about $360,000. Of course, you probably aren't paying for it. You may be Sea Org members, in which case you may never reach that level. Have you signed a billion-year service contract?
Want to get another picture of that? You've got enough film on me, don't you?
No,
No.
I mean, I haven't heard your side of the story yet.
Mark,
I told you what I feel about Scientology. Now tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, from when you first started saying what Scientology is to when you stopped talking. I want to take my place back down here.
Dan doesn't need to run, but
Yeah, please, I want you
D
to take your place.
D was
You know,
in.
it was nice of you to drop the leaflets by. I had a lovely chat with one of my neighbors here yesterday. This morning she called, and she got it yesterday. She found it horribly amusing hearing about XENU. Did you know that Mary Sue Hubbard went to prison because of Operation Snow White? Were you aware of that? That Mary Sue was actually sent to prison for breaking in.
I love how he'll assume the position. Okay, I'm not going to listen to this, and then he'll hear something, and I'll make another argument. He's got to go back to this sentry position.
Having people break into the IRS and steal documents pertaining to Scientology? How about bugging the IRS? Scientology did that, listened into tax-exempt status meetings. The government found all this out when they raided your cult and discovered all the documents signed by Mary Sue. Unfortunately, Hubbard was really the person behind them all, but he wasn't around when the FBI came to arrest everybody. And so Mary Sue took the fall.
Your position is untenable, Mark. You know
My
deep down
position-
inside that
My position
Scientology
is
helps
backed
people.
up by documents every step of the way. Yours is backed up by lies from L. Ron Hubbard. You are believing Source because Source says so. I am telling you things that are in the public record, that are documented, that are from Hubbard's own tech.
Deep down inside, Mark, you know you're trying to hurt something that helps
I
other
know
people.
I'm trying to help you. Someday I hope you'll realize that your church is corrupt and that having an Office of Special Affairs, a department that does dirty tricks, that sends out flyers like this and picketers like you,
Is there anything,
simply because I have...
is there anything wrong? Do you see any untruths in this? There are no untruths, is there? How could we do it? How could we do it if there was some untruth here? Deep down inside, you know this is the truth. And deep down inside, you know that Scientology helps people, Mark, and you're trying to stop that. You can't
That's
stand
what's true for you, but it's not true. I know that's what the church tells you. I know that's what you really feel you believe. But I think that you know that that's not right. That if someone says Lisa McPherson died because she was detained unlawfully for 17 days and lost 40 pounds in 17 days on Baby Watch, on the introspection rundown, Hubbard's own tech. She died in Clearwater, a miserable, horrible death that could have been avoided. You know that's wrong. And for me to speak out about that, I think is the only right thing to do. That's what I believe.
You know, people die of disease. It's a very unfortunate thing. But for you to attack someone, a church, because a member of that church died of a disease is ridiculous. People do die of disease, unfortunate as it is. And still, you are hurting something, trying to hurt something, which you will fail in the end of doing good. You're trying to hurt something that does good, Mark.
I don't
And you
think.
know.
Now, I wouldn't exactly say Lisa McPherson died of a disease. She died after being held for 17 days in a cabana at the Fort Harrison Hotel against her will. And I'm sorry, this was a new story for me at the time. One of the reasons I got involved in this. And I don't know if Dan really believed she died of a disease. I'm sure he didn't know the full story or the full true story of how horribly Lisa McPherson spent her last 17 days under L. Ron Hubbard's introspection rundown, baby watch, just more quackery that it leads to nothing good.
I don't think
And you
that
know-
I can in any way stop Scientology. I would like the folks who are in Scientology to perhaps reform Scientology. I don't mind that that you believe that, well, you don't believe in XENU because you haven't gotten to OT3 yet. I don't mind that people believe that they're covered with body thetans, that they have to go.
All right. Well, I was wrong. He had gotten to OT3. And Nico, unlike today, it feels like there's at least a minimal discussion between you and Dan. Yeah. But when you say my words seem to have at least a little impact on him, I don't think so. I thought looking at this that maybe they did. But a decade after this, Anonymous encountered him on the streets of Hollywood Boulevard. He was saying the exact same things to them at that point that he was saying to me here and on L. Ron Hubbard Day, L. Ron Hubbard birthday, L. Ron Hubbard Drive, rather, in L.A. I encountered him on the 4th of July, and the same words were being parroted then, and I'm sure still till today.
Through past lives and solve all of their problems. That doesn't bother me. You can believe anything you want. I don't like the lies. I don't like the fact that I walked into the Celebrity Center and was told by the head of the Celebrity Center that the religion is completely compatible with whatever religion I was raised in. And then to find out in Hubbard's own voice, Hubbard saying there is no Christ. That's a lie. For Hubbard to say that Christianity is all an implant from an alien race, some madmen found part of Hubbard's tech thousands of years ago and misinterpreted that tech and turned it into Christianity. That's a lie to say that it's compatible with other religions. I don't see how you can look at that otherwise. Why do you have to lie as soon as you meet somebody on the street?
Okay. Now, people sometimes think, well, Mark, you're just upset because it's not your religion. Well, I'm not really a religious person to begin with. And I don't care what anybody believes. I do think it's, however, fraud if you go out there as a sales pitch to people you meet in person and on TV. Oh, it's completely compatible with all religions. Well, what they mean is your wallet is compatible with their bank. So that the eye blinking, boy, he is out TR there. That he'd be flunking.
Why do you have to lie with a saying, come in and take a personality test? Why can't you just be upfront about what you believe when you meet somebody?
Yes, Dan? Hello, Dan?
Well, you know, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I've told you what I believe, and I know that you believe in the tech. I know a lot of people. I've met somebody at the Picket this weekend who's a free zoner. who believes in the tech, but he believes that the current management is what's wrong. But that's always been the case. Every time there's been trouble, they've always said, those people have been cut loose. Everything's fine now. That happened when Mary Sue went to prison. It's happened repeatedly. You've got to know that DM, David Miscavige, is the criminal. He's a squirrel. He's changed the tech. It's all true. It's all in the documents. We've got the original versions of all of Hubbard's writings, and we've got the squirreled reprintings. How can you allow your own management to squirrel the tech? I'm not saying that I believe in the tech to begin with. I don't see how you can support the fact that L. Ron Hubbard, when he was off at sea on the Apollo, decided it would be proper to throw people overboard. How do you believe that that's in any way a sane, rational way to treat people?
All right. Before Dan answers, if he does answer, I mentioned free zoners. It reminds me that in the course of making shooting documentary footage for Knowledge Report, I was invited to a free zone convention. And it was happening that year in Vegas. And they gave me full access. They introduced me, and the fellow who was running it introduced me and explained who I was. And they allowed me to interview them and videotape the panels. The one I was most looking forward to was in the afternoon. And it was about how you can leave your body and visit another planet, as far as I recall. And I thought, well, this I have to know. And I don't even have to pay for courses for this. I will learn all the secrets here. And once the panel started, I was just flabbergasted. It was this fellow running it that was somebody I'd read about before, because he was a Disney Imagineer. And you'd think, well, a Disney Imagineer is a top-level Scientologist, and now in the free zone? So you would think, well, he has some credibility, kind of like if he was a doctor or, some other professional. He's an Imagineer, for God's sakes. You got to enjoy Disneyland. So anyway, he has us all go through this process where we had to close our eyes, and we had to first feel ourselves leaving the body and filling the entire room. And then we would have to fill the hotel, be in the whole hotel, then all of Las Vegas, and then go to another planet and look around. And what do you see? And everyone was going, oh, wow. Oh, my God, yes. I'm on another planet. I wasn't. And I interviewed him after that, and I asked him, listen, I mean, I can certainly close my eyes and imagine, okay, I'm on Mars. All right. And there's, by the way, I think we were supposed to see like a French Parisian street or something. And okay, I can see a woman walking down the street, and okay, I can see a little cafe, and I can smell what's being cooked. And but that's just my imagination. And he said to me, was it really? Or were you there? No, it was my imagination. But I mean, I was amazed that was the extent of leaving your body and traveling to a distant world. Anyway, Dan was saying.
I mean, seriously, I'm asking you. for him to create ethics back in the mid-60s. And if somebody upset him and he thought he was out ethics, I'm sorry, we seem to have a situation here. If somebody upset Hubbard and he was out ethics, his hands were loosely tied. Loosely, I mean not tightly. And his legs were loosely bound. And he was thrown overboard. Hi. Welcome. This man thinks I'm a religious bigot because I talk out about Scientology. And he's decided to come and picket my house. And I apologize for that, but I believe Scientology. This is about me. I live here, and suddenly he just showed up to start picketing me because there was an.
Now, oops. Oh, damn it. Sorry. I was just going to say, I did a horrible job of explaining this to the guy in the car,
People
and he
die
had
disease.
to
It's
have
a very
been
unfortunate thing.
more
Like you do it.
confused by what I was telling him than if Buddy had just given him that. And
The religion.
now, where is that dude?
DM, David Miscavige.
I don't know if that's before or after this. I should pay attention. Oh, I guess that's the spot here.
I'm sorry, we seem to
Oh
have
no, that's the cop
a
car
situation here.
or security.
If somebody upset Hubbard and he was out ethics, his hands were loosely tied.
There we go.
Loosely.
Okay,
I mean, not
the guy's
tightly. And his legs were
driving over
loosely
now.
bound. And
Sorry.
he was thrown overboard. Hi. Welcome. This man thinks I'm a religious bigot because I talk out about Scientology. And he's decided to come and picket my house. And I apologize for that, but I believe Scientology. This is about me. I live here, and suddenly he just showed up to start picketing me because there was an international picket this past weekend with critics around the country coming to complain about Scientology. So now they're saying that I'm a religious bigot. So, thanks for your time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Where were we? Oh yes, Hubbard throwing people overboard. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's proper?
Did you see him throw somebody overboard?
No, but it's well documented.
Well, you said you have all the writings.
Happened?
You said you have all the writings.
I don't
of
have
Hubbard.
all the writings.
Well,
No.
You do or you don't. You said you did.
I don't have a single piece of writing of Hubbard. I don't want to have any copyrighted material in my possession. I know that you folks have raided the home of Dennis Ehrlich, who lives nearby in Glendale. I know you raid the homes of people who have the text. So I have made sure that I never even read or download anything that has your copyrighted material in it. But I have heard the accounts of OT3 from CBS, from ABC, from Time Magazine, from various places that have quoted the court documents where your own people have verified that, yes, OT3 is about XENU blowing us up in volcanoes. So I'm aware of things like that. But I don't have the tech on how you run out the body thetans, how you get rid of the invisible dead space cooties from your body. I'm not interested in that. I don't believe the tech works, so I'm not interested in reading about it. But I do know the court documents in the FBI files. Please.
I assume now that Dan has reported back. I'm sorry, D, rather. After he left, he must have said, I'm out of here. Bunker is talking about OT3. So they're checking up.
I'll talk to you later, okay? Okie doke. I'll talk to you later.
Now, when I see an injustice, I just feel I have to speak out, and that's all I'm doing. I had a friend who was involved in Scientology, and I've met a lot of people now who are former Scientologists who have verified what I'm saying is true. That when I tell you about the XENU story, yeah, that's true. I mean, your own top officials have verified it in court, so I'm not lying about that. I know that your early courses you find beneficial. And I'm not even saying throw out all that's beneficial. For instance, in applied scholastics, in Hubbard's teaching technology. The fact that he says every child should have a dictionary on their desk. I'm okay with that. That's reasonable. But I don't think it's reasonable to say, God bless L. Ron Hubbard. We're going to clear some words. Now let's learn what else we can clear. How about body thetans? I don't think that's right. I don't think you should be indoctrinating kids into it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't raise your kids as Scientologists, because that's really what you believe. But to spread Hubbard's tech in public schools, I don't think it's right. Do you have any questions about what I believe, or
No.
No, not
do
at
you
all.
feel that what you're doing here is something worthwhile,
Yes.
and why?
I'm not going to do an interview, Mark.
Well, it's your opportunity to tell your side of it. I think I've honestly and openly tried to tell you why I feel the way I do, and I appreciate an open exchange of ideas. And I'm willing to hear your side of the story.
You've already said you won't have any of the material in your house. You're free to go down to any bookstore and buy books on Scientology.
Well,
and
that was
find
one.
out,
I'm sorry.
excuse-
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
and find out what it is. But that's not what you've chose to do. You've chose to find people that were unhappy with it, or dissatisfied, or complaining about it in some way, and collect all that information so that you can use that to discourage people from doing Scientology. Once again, something that helps people. And all those people down there, why would they be there? You know, they're getting help. They're helping
Well,
other people.
I mean, they
and they're-
certainly believe
and they're
that.
believing in what they choose to believe.
And again, I have nothing against them believing in anything that they want me to believe, but I think the church needs to be reformed. Do you see the Baptist church having protesters go stand outside critics' homes? Do you see this from a Jewish organization? Do you see Mormons or Christians picketing outside anyone who dares to say something negative about the church? Is this a right thing to do? Should you
Do you
have
not
an
want
office
people?
of special
Do you
affairs?
not want people to know this? I mean, like I said before, if you see,
Well, I
if
don't
you
mind.
See, if
I don't
there's-
mind if people. I'm
if
sorry.
there's
Go ahead.
something not true in here, you know. But
Well, let me read it through. This is what a religious bigot looks like. I don't think I'm a religious bigot, because I don't think Scientology is truly a religion, even though it has been allowed to be called a religion here in this country. In other countries around the world, there are many places where it's not considered a religion, depending on where it's convenient. In Israel, apparently, it is not a religion because of the codes there. It's
once again,
it's a
it's
study.
like I said, you're just picking up any kind of scrap of information that you can find that against it. You're not really interested.
Am I interested in going through the bridge and coming out the other side? No, because I don't think anyone else has come out the other side. I don't think you should have to pay for salvation. Do you think you really should have to pay $360,000 to be saved?
He doesn't think I'm interested. I've been doing this for 25 years now. Something's got to pique my interest.
Is there anything rational about that?
So you think all those people can afford to pay $360,000?
Do you think people should sign a billion-year service contract?
I guess it's up to the person signing the contract.
Are you a member of the Sea Org?
No.
Okay. Now, when people join the Sea
Can I
Org...
give you a flyer? Okay.
Oh, hi. The fun has escalated here. You saw the flyer they gave out yesterday, right? Yeah. I was just telling Alan that it's unlikely that we'd have a picketer here because it's not their pattern. Usually they wait until till you're gone and you're picketing the church somewhere that they actually come out and picket. But no sooner do I say that than we look out the door and there he is.
Well, I'll see you later.
Well, it's been fun.
Well, there you go.
Bye. Come back.
Unfortunately, he never came back, but I would bump into him from time to time. Oh, hey, he did come back. I mentioned this story before, and I'll tell it again when I get to the 4th of July videos, which I'm working on now to upscale. After I moved away from this place, I had Dan pop up at the new apartment complex I was at. And how do I know that? Because some of my neighbors came over and said, you know, a friend from out of town was asking about you and wanted to know if you lived there and in which apartment. And we told him. I said, oh, that's interesting. Let me ask, what did this friend from out of town look like? And they described Dan. And I invited them in to take a look at my videotape and say, is this my friend from out of town? Yes, that's him. So on the 4th of July weekend then, when I discovered that, I went back to look for Dan. Apparently he did that on July 3rd. And July 4th, I went back to the celebration on L. Ron Hubbard Way and was searching for Dan, who I spotted leaving the building and then kept following him as he walked all the way down to the freeway, not talking at all. And Dan, I don't think, talked to me ever again after that 4th of July weekend where he was, again, caught on tape bull baiting me with a couple other Scientologists. So, but Dan became one of those beloved characters like Kramer that made XENU TV such a success. What did Dan do for a living? I don't know. I have no idea. But he was successful enough to go up the bridge. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover here. Do you have any questions or anything else you wanted to talk about tonight? Well, I'm glad that you are enjoying this. I'm having fun going through the archives. I won't go through everything, but you know, classics like this I want to share with folks. Yes, Mary DeMoss will be coming up. I have plenty of Mary DeMoss to share, including the Mary DeMoss Go Round, which I have converted already. Daniel, I've mentioned this before, but Mary left Scientology, and I found that when I was visiting the Headleys, Mark and Claire Headley in Denver, Colorado, years ago. And they had another former Scientologist couple come over because they wanted to meet me. So it was great hearing from them, and they knew Mary. Mary was a friend of theirs. And she was working at that point, and I think still is, in Boulder, Colorado. And she was doing activism for environmental causes and being fairly successful at that, I understand. She certainly has passion and can go out and make her case. So, and she testified, I think, before Congress in the past on Scientology, I believe. So her continuing doing those same types of things for environmental concerns, I can see that working for her. I don't know how Dan's doing now. Somebody mentioned that he was sick. I have not seen any video of him since around probably 2010 or so. Bob is not around. Bob died a number of years ago. Not too long after he got out of the fight with Scientology and settled. He and Stacy wound up living in Ireland in a really nice small town called Kong, C-O-N-G, which was where John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara filmed The Quiet Man. So one of the big things in Kong is the Quiet Man Museum, which I saw. It's like in the corner of a little store. There's not a lot to display there, but they're proud of the movie being shot there. It was a great movie. All right. Everyone listen to Kelly. Hit that like, subscribe, let everybody know that I can be found here doing my live streams. And I hope you'll come back. Daniel, I'm not sure that Dan passed. I think I would have known that. But it's possible Magoo just hasn't shared it with me. At any rate, thank you, Angie. Listen, it's been fun. I'm kind of getting the hang of this now. And I'll start to comment on other things beyond just these old videos. Well, Kelly, I'm glad you're loving them. I sometimes worry that I'm boring myself to tears, and how exciting could this be? But I'm glad you're enjoying them, and I'll keep blabbing away. But I think tonight we've done enough damage. It's great that you came here and spent some time with me. XENU TV will be ending its broadcast day now, but I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.